All right, so I finally didn't get copyrighted this time. From the last video I dropped yesterday. If y'all haven't seen it, go check that out. It's called what is the guy named Sidney Cosby? So I think he talked about how he's able to still play. I'm at 37, so I finally didn't get copyrighted from that video. So we gonna have to check this one out, man. This hockey psychology channel I found yesterday, I recommended and everything. So we may have to keep checking this channel out because obviously from watching this content, I won't be getting copyrighted. Now the only thing is, I still do want to watch hockey highlights and hockey fights and everything. So if I'm able to find a channel to where I can watch those type of videos that I can copyrighted, then that'd be clutch. So once I find that, then we be good then, man. We can definitely keep reacting to hockey. So, but this one is about how much the size matter in the NHL. So I feel like I don't know if, well, yeah, because it's kind of like I feel like, basketball, you got a center versus the center, you got the point guard. So I mean, at small forwards. So, but I don't know how much you weigh and your height matters in hockey. Y'all let me know down in the comments how much it really matters. I mean, I never heard anybody really, give me any info on, as far as like your size and everything. So y'all let me know down in the comment the size matter in hockey. Comment me some more players to react to. And yeah, man, let's get into it. Roll to 10K.
This is Connor McDavid, the greatest hockey player in the world, and he comes in at 6'1", 193 pounds. Now, if you're building the perfect hockey player in a lab, this would be the exact type of build you'd want your player to have. Tall to fend off oncoming checkers, and lean enough to be extremely mobile. The result is an athlete that dominates in every aspect of the game, except it's not primarily because of his size. There is a famous saying in hockey that goes like this: a smaller player has to prove he can play, while a bigger player has to prove he can't. Throughout the history of the game, there has been outliers on both ends of the spectrum that prove that size either does or doesn't matter. In today's NHL, speed and skill play more of a factor than physicality did compared to 20 years ago. Yet no matter how much the game has evolved, size always remains a hot topic when building a team or looking at a specific player. So, let's take a deeper look at how much size actually does matter in the current NHL and how it affects every position. The average height and weight of an NHL player in 2024 is 6'1", 199 pounds. By position, goalies are the tallest players in the league, coming in on average at 6'2".
Is there any guys that's under like 5'11" or 6 foot?
Shrimps that are the forwards at 6
like 5'7" guys.
Each position, size matters to a varying degree. For goaltenders, it's pretty important. Looking at the past Vezina winners over the last 10 years, only 2 goalies were under 6'2", and that was Igor Shesterkin and Braden Holtby, both coming in at 6'1". Taller goalies in general have the advantage of taking up more net. In the playoffs, where traffic in the crease becomes more prominent,
5'11".
being bigger can certainly have its advantages. That being said, goalies don't need to be 6'3" or taller to be elite. According to Devils goaltending coach Dave Rogalski, the defining factor to a goalie's success is their skating and their ability to read the play. On top of that, their hand-eye coordination off of tracking releases is crucial as well. With how many great shooters are changing the angle nowadays, a goalie can't just drop down and fill space. They must be able to read the release and understand where the shot is going. Smaller goalies like the 5'11" Juuse Saros makes up for his size with his athleticism, skating, and hockey IQ. For example, this save here while shorthanded shows off all of Saros' strengths as a smaller goalie. When the Canucks want to feed Miller for a slot chance, Saros stays patient and stays on his feet. So when this pass is eventually whipped across, Saros can stay on his feet and he actually beats the pass. His anticipation of where the play was going to go allows him to fully set his feet for the shot, and he stops a grade A chance. Compare that to a 6'4" Stuart Skinner, who drops down too early on this pass here, doubles down on his big frame, and then inevitably gets beat up high. However, if you do look at the past 10 Stanley Cup final goalie matchups, only one matchup featured a goalie who's under 6'1", and that was the 5'11" Anton Khudobin in 2020. Teams that go deep in the playoffs typically have had a goalie that is 6'2 or taller. Now that may be an irrelevant stat, but NHL teams do indeed follow trends. Next, of course, is defensemen, averaging at 6'1". This is where you'll typically see a lot of NHL teams really value height. Whether it's gapping up to an opponent...
I haven't seen nobody that's under 5'11". Is there any guys in hockey that's under 5'11"?
...battle to clear the crease. Having a tall and strong defender can make life a living hell when trying to create offense. Now, of course, that type of size can be offset with the proper speed, mobility, and hockey IQ. Take perhaps the two best defensemen in the world right now in Carr and Quinn Hughes. Both are considered undersized, being 5'11 and 5'10, but these players leverage their skating and hockey sense to avoid it being their disadvantage. Instead of using their long stick to kill a play off the rush, they use their skating and anticipation to angle guys off effectively. In the playoffs, where forechecking and physicality are at its peak, both players are incredible at either evading the pressure with their feet or making a crisp first pass to transition to offense. Of course, when you get a unicorn of a player like Victor Hedman, who can skate, anticipate the play, and is 6'7", there is a significant advantage. Smaller and mobile defensemen have become more and more common as the game has gone progressively faster. Yet, the last two Stanley Cup champs haven't had anyone on their D-core who's under 6 feet. With the level of physicality and wall battles that commonly occur in the playoffs, teams are and will continue to build D-cores that can withstand the grind of the postseason. Now, where people really start to question whether or not size matters in hockey is with forwards. With forwards being the smallest on average out of all the positions, we have tons of examples of smaller players having success.
Okay.
Just last year when the Golden Knights won the Cup, a 5'9", 183-pound Jonathan Marchessault was
5'9"?
the most valuable player in the playoffs. Again, size no longer matters if a player can anticipate the game effectively. In that playoff run, nobody in the postseason had more scoring chances and slot shots than Jonathan Marchessault. That's because his anticipation allowed him to frequently time his arrival into the open areas on the ice. Combine that with his compete and ability to play big in the greasy areas in front and along the wall, size simply becomes just another number. Marchessault went undrafted in 2011 despite putting up monster stats in junior and showing that he can produce in the playoffs. No one wanted him because he was a 5'9" winger. Like the saying goes, small players have to prove they can play, while big players have to prove they can't. And perhaps the best example...
What do you mean by can't prove? Have to prove they can't play? I don't understand that.
In 2016 has always been an attractive asset to teams, being 6'4" and showing flashes of being a monster. But when you combine a lack of consistency with a lack of compete on most nights, Dubois finds himself on his fourth team at just 26. Now, despite gaining a bit of a reputation, teams are still more than willing to take a chance on him because of his high-level skill set for being a 6'4" centerman. Now, when you go through every position, really the main quality a player can possess to counteract size being an issue is their hockey IQ. Connor Bedard is 5'10", 185 pounds. Despite being projected to be the next generational superstar of the league, people still had concerns because of his size. He responded by putting up 61 points in 68 games. And when you look at how he produced offense this season, a lot of it came from his lethal shot. However, in order to use that deadly release, he consistently found ways to put himself in high-danger scoring areas with his off-puck routes. Even when he's going up against a 6'6" Victor Hedman, Bedard uses his speed to beat Hedman off the wall to the net and then aggressively cuts into his hands while getting low to give him leverage on this tap-in. That being said, Connor Bedard did miss a chunk of this season because he broke his jaw off of an open ice hit.
Damn.
Probably chalk that play up to being a rookie in the NHL, but at the same time, the next evolution of his game is learning how to take contact effectively or to put himself in a position where he virtually takes none at all. One of the best ever at this skill was the GOAT himself, Wayne Gretzky. Despite hilariously and likely inaccurately being listed at 6 feet, 185 pounds, I mean, come on, just look at this guy. There's no way this guy is 6 feet, 185 pounds. It looks like a gust of wind could have knocked him off his skates. In an era where physicality was much more involved than it is today, Gretzky was the most feared player both with and without the puck. He He was never the fastest player, certainly wasn't the strongest, but in an era where the game was more physical, no one saw and anticipated the play like Wayne Gretzky. In today's NHL, the closest comparison we have in terms of stats and pure dominance over everyone else is Connor McDavid. McDavid is essentially
Oh, okay. I did a reaction video to Connor McDavid.
height and weight. But what makes him truly the best in the world is his ability to read the game at warp speed. You may say that being the fastest player on the planet helps, and you're right. But in an era where
it's crazy how I'm really starting to learn a lot of these hockey players, like in the last month.
Believe it or not, there are players in the NHL that can keep up with McDavid in terms of physical speed. But absolutely no one compare the physical with the cognitive speed that McDavid thinks the game at. Regardless of how tall or heavy you are, an effective player at the NHL level has to be able to understand gaps, timing, defensive structures, offensive structures, and tendencies of their opponents. The quicker a hockey player can process all of these things at the same time, the less important size becomes as a defining metric.
Okay. Skill level.
Element to hockey, size will matter and organizations will build around it. Just looking at the physical attributes for the players drafted in 2024, teams are continuing to value size.
Damn, only one person 5'9".
By playing an aggressive and physical style of hockey, it's likely that we're going to see teams construct their rosters to both combat and use this style of play.
Damn.
Just looking within their division, the Boston Bruins look like they're building a blue line that can withstand a physical style of game.
Dang, yeah, ain't gonna get nobody under 5'11".
Pendulum that is constantly swinging between speed and skill and size and physicality. When organizations swing too far in one direction, they get exposed. Strike the perfect balance, and you put yourself in a position to do something special.
Oh, okay, that was good info though. That was real good info on the size. They haven't got anybody under 5'11" at all.
The NHL season, and we got a team.
They haven't got anybody under 5'11", 5'10". They only drafted one person in 2024 that was 5'9". That's crazy. Wow, it seemed like the NBA. It seemed like they like more of the taller guards. You know. Nah, cool information. I'm definitely going to have to react to some more of his videos. I'm glad his videos don't copyright, man. So you're gonna definitely see more of his videos being put out on my channel. But yeah, man, let me know what y'all want to see next. I like that y'all comment more, so keep commenting. Let me know what to react to, and yeah, man, I'll see you on the next one, man. Next time, out.